What is going on, everybody? It's Nothing But Skills, and in today's video we are going to be looking over title update 9. The official patch notes did come out, and if we head over to division forums, you can see right here that it says that it's updating from 8.5 to title update 9. It's approximately 10 gigabytes. So like the main thing that we know that's going to be happening is exotic reconfiguration. If you guys watched my last video on reconfiguring exotics, you will know that now we can re-roll their attributes to a new configuration. So it's going to re-roll the whole item, and then hopefully you can get a better roll. Now you can also upgrade your level 30s to level 40. So that's one of the big changes coming to title update 9. Now game balancing, they are changing some of the exotics to make them a little bit more powerful. The Sawyer knee pads got reworked, so they're going to be more powerful. I'm actually excited for these. Increase total weapon damage by 3% every second you are not moving. The stacks up to 10 times. Stacks are lost when moving. So that means you can get an additional 30% extra damage when you're in cover. So just firing from cover, you're going to keep that 30% damage. The exotic provides no defensive attributes, no brand bonuses, so now has a potential for high damage, making it appealing to both red and blue builds. That's what they wanted to note on that, and I think that's really cool. This is going to be great for a lot of builds going forward. The Imperial Dynasty also got a buff and went from the cooldown on from 40 seconds to 35 seconds. I'm glad to see that. It's going to be great for PvE. I know a lot of PvP players don't really like that buff, but hey. Dodge City Gunslingers reduced the charge up time from 30 seconds from 50 seconds. So it's going to take a lot less time to get the full benefit of the Dodge City Gunslinger. Now the Diamondback is one of those that got a rework. I think this is going to be really good on the Negotiators dilemma builds. Now grants all shots guaranteed crits for 5 seconds after hitting a mark. So once it shows you the marked enemy, as long as you hit that marked enemy, you can hit any other marked enemy for 5 seconds and you will get those crits. But you remember, you only have like 5 or 6 rounds. I'm not 100% sure. It's 5 or 6 rounds. So by the time you hit those 5 shots, you probably might be able to reload and get 1 or 2 shots off, if that. Now, if we keep going down, we have the Merciless Buff. Explosive damage increased to 1,200%. It's up from 900%. So it went up 300%. So I'm excited to see how well the Merciless is going to do going forward. The Lady Death no longer enhances turret skills. They debuffed that. Bullet King base damage is now the same as non-exotic LMG versions, so it's no longer going to have a stronger base damage, which I'm not can someone remind me if this had more damage or less damage than the non-exotic LMG version. The exotic attribute roll quality, all exotics will now roll at the highest possible minimum regardless of the difficulty that you obtain it in. I like this. So if you're playing on normal, you're going to get the highest tier. It would be the same thing if you got an exotic drop on a harder difficulty. So I really like that. So like if you get an exotic, it's going to be at the highest roll possible, but it still can fluctuate. It doesn't mean it's going to be God roll. We go down to some of the talents. We have Tag Team. It was reworked. The last enemy you have damage with a skill is marked. Dealing weapon damage to that enemy consumes the mark and reduces active cooldowns by 6 seconds. Cooldown is 4 seconds, does not consume mark if no skill is on cooldown. So another rework for the Tag Team. Reassigned was buffed. Killing an enemy adds 1 round of random special ammo into your sidearm. Reduce cooldown to 15 seconds down from 20 seconds. They also have tamper proof. Enemies that walk within 3 meters of your hive, turret, or remote pulse are shocked. Arm time is 2 seconds. Reduce cooldown from 10 seconds up from 5 seconds. So a little bit better there. Empathic resolve buff. Repairing an ally increases their total weapon damage and skill damage by 3 to 15% for 20 seconds, up from 10 seconds. So that's going to be really good. So if you're running a healer build, it just makes it a little bit better, right? Like this is going to be really good for those teams that like running healer builds on harder difficulty. So the fact that it's going to last 20 seconds versus those 10 seconds is really going to be, that's powerful right there. We keep going down. Creeping Death got a buff. When you apply a status effect, it also applied to all enemies within 8 meters, up from 5 meters. I like this buff. Especially, I use the Creeping Death on a lot of my status effect builds in PvE, and it works great. It reduces cooldown to 15 seconds, down from 20 seconds. Overcharge talents now properly state they don't work in PvP. So no overcharge talents work in PvP. Named items: contractor gloves, damage to armor lowered to 8%, firm handshake status effect increased to 15%, ammo dump now correctly rolls 2 additional attributes, claws out now correctly has skill tier core attribute, now correctly rolls an attribute in addition to pistol damage and melee damage. Melee damage is increased to 400%. Now Fox Prayers damage to outer cover lowered to 8%. The Hollow Man Mask damage to health lowered to 10%. The Punch Drunk Mask headshots increased to 20%. And then Send Off, they removed the Perfectly Rooted talent. So it looks like no more Send Off, guys. No more Send Off. But it looks like Fox Prayers, the Hollow Man, Contractor Gloves all got a nerf. Firm Handshake got a buff. And then, of course, Punch Drunk got a buff too. Weapons, assault rifles, finally, they're getting increased maximum roll of damage to health to 21%. Players on Stadia will not see this be displayed correctly and instead see an increase to damage to health on other weapon types. This is a UI issue only and will be fixed in the next client update. So for you guys playing on Stadia, those are the only people that are going to have that issue right there. Gear sets: True Patriot, white buff armor repair lowered to 2 to 3% once every second. So True Patriot getting a small nerf for the healing. Main missions: Pentagon DARPA Research Lab lowered difficulty to be more on par with other missions. Liberty Island lowered difficulty to be more on par with other missions. Wall Street reduced health and damage of the APC. Stranded Tanker NPC composition has been adjusted. Now, the AIs and NPCs, it looks like signature weapons against NPCs slightly increase the damage signature weapons deal to named enemies. That's great because, man, signature weapons weren't doing anything to them. Elite NPC damage against player skills. Reduce the damage elite NPCs deal to player skills so they won't destroy those skills right away. Tank sprint speed. It reduced the sprint speed on tank archetypes from all hostile factions. NPC shotguns, reduced damage of all NPC shotguns, adjusted the range of the NPC shotguns. So a lot of nerfs coming to these AIs and NPCs. Status effects: reduced the duration of poison and cleaners napalm and snare when applied to players. Here we go. Rogue agents significantly reduce the armor of dynamically spawning rogue agents. To prevent this from being too large of a nerf, and 3 to 4 players co-op, rogue agents can spawn with an armor kit, which can repair their armor up to 70%. So that's cool right there. So they got a little bit of a nerf. Slightly reduced the damage output and dynamic spawning of rogue agents. NPC buff allies ability changed. And they kept going on. Loot rewards. This is something a lot of you guys might want to see. Increase the power of dropped exotics to always be the highest tier. We already know that. They added Operation Dark Hour's raid gear set, chest, and backpack items to the general loot pool, making them available outside of Operation Dark Hours. So if you farm those green pieces on the map, you should be able to have a chance of getting the chest and backpack. They lowered the number of exotic components awarded from exotic deconstruction to match the cost of exotic reconfigure. So you used to get 2 exotics. I think it's only 1 now. Lowering a conflict XP amount from PvP weekly projects to match the required XP for 1 conflict level. Blueprints combine all skill mod blueprints of different qualities into a single blueprint per skill. Scaling quality of that crafting bench. Added a skill mod blueprint for skills introduced into Warlords of New York. Added blueprints from general blueprint pools to the first time weekly completion rewards of invaded missions. And then they added blueprints from the general blueprint pool to rewards of daily projects. So now you can get regular general blueprints from the daily projects. Skills: the sharpshooter tactician skill base radius has been increased to 50 meters. Scoping is now enabled when using a shield skill. So no longer will you get the benefit of using your scoped in sniper rifle if you're using those 8-time scopes. You know how you would get the extra headshot damage without having to scope in because you weren't allowed to? You have to scope in on the shield to get that benefit. And there was a couple other changes. If you want to see these, you can see all of the bug fixes on the patch notes. They fixed a lot of gameplay issues and then a lot of UI fixes. So it was a full list of changes. It looks like it's a lot of things that a lot of people were complaining about. So if you want to check out all of these, they also have audio mission fixes, Operation Dark Hours, the open world, Dark Zone PvP, and that was it. They fixed a lot of things. It's a pretty big patch. If you guys are looking for if they fixed anything in particular you're looking for, I would definitely take a look here. I'll put a link to this in the description if you want to see the full patch notes and see all these changes they did to gameplay, UI, and stuff like that. Let me know what you guys think about this. What do you guys think about these changes coming? A lot of these changes to the exotics, the gear talents, I think they're actually pretty good, and a good step, good step in the right direction. Hopefully, we get more changes, more content in the near future. I will see you guys in the next Division 2 video, but until then, I'll see you guys around. Nothing but skills is out.